Hey guys, welcome back here. We are now doing something that was very popular in the Football Manager 2019 that I made. I made a remake of Pep Guardiola's Manchester City team. This time we are not making a Manchester City, we are still making a Pep Guardiola, but we are going to the legendary team of Pep Guardiola with Barcelona. This is the golden generation, the golden team that won the Champions League, and this was when they played. This is the first season of Mourinho came to Real Madrid. Mourinho had just won the Champions League with Inter. He came his first season with Real Madrid after he had won the Champions League with Inter. So this was, for example, Real Madrid brought in Kaká, Ronaldo. Was their second season with Kaká and Ronaldo, and they brought in Di Maria, I think, that season. So you are playing against Barcelona. So the team was really, for example, the first year Real Madrid wanted to come back again and bring down Barcelona. They brought in a lot of players like Alonso, Benzema, Ronaldo, and Kaká, and a lot of players. But still, that they couldn't take him down. But many people said the squad is good enough to bring down Barcelona, but they needed just 1 year to be playing together. And that is what they have done already. So, but still, Barcelona won it. I'm a Real Madrid fan. So, but anyway, we are going with Barcelona. This is one of the best Barcelona teams we have seen in the modern age. This is this is the best team of Pep Guardiola, okay? The thing here was that we're going straight to the tactic, guys. When it comes to results, we come for 4th place. We could have gone much better results, but what I do when I play a remake is I go into the game and I keep changing and see if it can be better. Sometimes it's good, I change it anyway to see if I can get it more realistically. So this is as realistically as possible. And one way you have to do when you do things like that is that you can think about, for example, this is a false 9. Someone will say he's a trequista, he's that. Because you cannot sit down and say, oh, but when I saw Xavi play, he was a deep line playmaker because he got a lot of ball there and he did like that. Maybe in Football Manager, based on the system, the players around, and the player traits, you have to maybe use him as a box-to-box midfielder and go and peek him a little bit inside here, give him some other things to do. Anyway, okay, we go straight to a team. The goalkeeper was Valdez at that time. I wanted also to do this with another team. I didn't want to do it with Barcelona. I didn't want to do it with a good team. I wanted to make it happen with an okay team. San Sebastian, that is Real Sociedad. This can also be a team guide for them, but this is a good team, guys. We came 4th place. That means Champions League place. They have no depth when you come to that team, so I can say you that too. We have no depth. They have good economy. What we have already done is that we have built out the stadium. I asked them to build, because you fill the stadium every time. You fill the stadium, 36, how much is it? It's 39,500, but it's currently reduced because we're going to build it out. So I asked if we can rebuild the stadium. No, we can expand the stadium. So we are expanding it. So they have super training facilities, and that is something we're going to work with because it's going to be better. We are investing our training facilities. You have a lot of young players in the team. You have a lot of good players in the team. So what you should do here is that this is a great team with a lot of young players. You can sell one of them, you get even more money. So this is a team that financially can really make it. So this could be also a sleeping giant, for example, team that in the series we have made, the sleeping giants. So if I had gone with this tactic all year long, for example, in the most of the time, I think the results would be much better than we can see here. I think we could go for the second, no, not maybe 93 points, but many of these losses and draws come because I was more into finding the tactical system, okay? So anyway, let's go to the tactic, guys. You have Victor Valdez in goal. Victor Valdez is very good with the ball. He came out at that year. He came out here and he was playing there. So what Barcelona did, as you see, I call it Pep 2011, the tactic. What they did was they had Puyol and Piqué behind here. Sometimes Mascherano too. So you can use both as a ball-playing defenders, but I use it mostly. Another defender here. His name is Hussein. There. And I also use a bale here, and I use the left side my good old friend Odegaard. There you are. So you can see with the right players, because when you set a new player and you have to tweak it a little bit. Okay, anyway, this Piqué played at the left side. I changed that placing because of the foot of the players that is ball playing. I wanted at the right side. In modern football, for example, Ramos is a ball playing defender. He has great cross passes, so he plays this side. Even though he's a right footed player, because he likes to get the cross to the other side. Some players thinks that's more better, others like to be at this side. Anyway, okay, the defenders have the ball, they go wide, and remember that the rule was then that you couldn't go out and get the ball inside the 16 meters here, so you had to get the ball outside. But anyway, they went out, you made a triangle with Valdez, Piqué and Mascherano here, and when Busquets dropped down here, when he did that, many people think he did that all the time. He didn't do that all the time, but when he did it, he came lower down here to get the ball. What happens was that the fullbacks, that was I think Abidal and Dani Alves, they push it higher up in the build-up. So this was in a way hit that, for example, and that happened where, for example, if they had the build-up with 3 players, they will go up. If he didn't come down, they stood lower on the field. And Abidal was a little bit more, it didn't go as high up as Alves. And you had Iniesta at the left, and you had Xavi at the right, Busquets here. So sometimes, that's hard thing. That's a little bit hard thing for me to make in the game for you. So you have to do it from game to game if you want him to come down or not. What I see is missing here is I have them stay wider. Both of them. I forgot him. Yeah. Okay. You have the center defender. They stay wider, but that's in the build-up. You want them to stay wider so you can give him the room. The composure here is very important. For example, we were not there in the composure department, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go through the squad. So I used Ramiro. Ramiro was my best FIFA goalkeeper in the team, as he had the highest passing and the best, believe it or not, the best first touch and composure, and his vision was good, and his throwing was good. His rushing out was better than the other players. So I used him. He was a very good player in that place. And yeah, we used Zubeldia, that is a defensive midfielder. So I did a little bit like Mascherano, but he's my best player with the ball in down there. His technique is 15. He can be a good libero if you're gonna use it like that. But this is a good player with the ball. His composure is not that well, but he's good with the ball. So I brought him down. His jumping reach is not that well. But anyway, we are playing high up in the field. You are having the ball a lot of times, so you have to sacrifice something, So, okay, what's more important then when you have higher up in the field is tackling, his marking, his heading, and also positioning. And teamwork is also important based on the offside trap that we're going to use in the game, because we're going to stand high up in the field, as well as pace and acceleration. So, yes, this team is not made definitely for it, but it really worked well. So I had to bring in Hosseini. Here is a Iranian player. I just bought him for £2 million, and the reason here is he's my Mascherano in a way, because his defensive part is very good. We really miss a good defensive player in your center backs in Sociedad. So he had the marking, and he had the tackling, and he had the bravery, and also good heading. As you can see, our jumping reach total is not that good in the team in our center defense. So you have to defend wide with your team, and but when he came, it got a lot better. But and that's something important. You don't need to always look at the current ability. While using Majid Hosseini, I played a lot better. We won a lot more games. We kept the 0. So this combination was the best combination. What I asked Hosseini to do is take fewer risks, because he's so bad with the ball. It's the same with Mascherano. You don't ask him to make a lot of risk with the ball. But when I didn't use Hosseini, I used, for example, another center defender. He was playing as a ball-playing defender, and I had 2 ball-playing defenders. Okay, So you want these to stay wider, so you can make room for Ramiro and Ilarmendi, that is our Busquets. Ilarmendi is the player. This player comes low. What I ask him to do is, he's a halfback. I need to have him as a halfback because I'm going to use these two players wider, and I need him to come down into the field to get the ball. Okay, and Ilmandi is, for example, the thing with him is that I'm going to look at the players right here. With the team is, I ask him to take fewer risk and close down less. The reason is Busquets doesn't go up. For example, when you see here, when we counter press, Ilmandi will also come in. The halfback will also start pressing, and that made it can be good and it can be wrong. I don't know if in form of the game, but in the real life, Busquets doesn't have that pace. He doesn't have that ability. He doesn't come up in the pressure. He's safe it here. He's more safing. He's not dropping down, but sometimes he's also dropping down to make a 3-back line. But other times he's also sweeping behind these two guys when they go on to pressure. He's coming a little bit higher up, but he's not going into the pressure up here. He's sweeping up behind here. He's locking the space behind here, and he's being as a supporting his central defenders. So, okay. So we ask him to take few risk and close down. Why do I ask him to take few risk? And the reason is he doesn't place. He comes deep to get the ball, perfect, but he stops play. Okay, he's not that dangerous, but he tries long range passes and likes to switch ball to other flank. That can be good, but these two combined together, tries long range passes, means that he's gonna play the ball long passes. Not only wide, but also into the central part of the game, the players. And that will give you some problems, because suddenly you're playing out from defense and poof, he smells it up, you get a counter attack right in your ass. The other way. Sorry for the word. Okay, guys. So you, based on his player traits, you have to do that. But if you have another player that plays simple passes, you don't need to think about that. You don't need to ask him to do that, okay? Our Xavi is Merino. He's playing a deep line playmaker, but here comes the thing. He's staying wider. Why is he staying wider? And the reason is, when he comes down, he goes down in the space here. Do you see the spaces here? Not number 1, number 2. This is the position Xavi operates in, and this is very important in Pep Guardiola. When you got these spaces here, the player stands in that space. When you come to the final third, you can move, but this is his space. So he's in a way standing, if you think the opposition is here, he's standing between the winger and the central midfielder of the opponent. Do you understand? Winger and the central midfielder that is closest to the side here. Not the central defensive, not the right midfielder, the left midfielder, central midfielder. He will stand between them, and he will never come lower down in here. So the problem you can have is this Merino, for example, here comes also deep to get the ball. It can go, but then if you stand here. But it can go, because Xavi did that sometimes. But you have to then see if the player is also good in moving forward when you have to move. Maybe you have to peek him to get forward a little bit. And the other part is, when they come to the last third part of the game, Xavi always stands in between central defender and the left back. I'm not saying he's standing in this room, but he's standing here. So if he gets the ball here, he can just get a through ball to Januzaj that runs between the fullback and the central defender. So therefore, you need to get. We use him as a deep line playmaker, so he gets the ball, because we want Xavi to get the ball. We don't want Ilmandi to do it. We want Ilmandi to keep it simple here. Pass the ball, get it to Merino. Merino is wide. We call him for Xavi. Xavi gets the ball. He can use either Messi or Pedro that goes into a run between the center back and the full back. Okay, center back, full back. That's the space that you're gonna get the ball. So if he's standing too small here, it's a little bit. Then the ball can be played, but it's hard. But always he uses them here. You can see the same thing with Iniesta, but Iniesta stands even wider. He sometimes dribble into the space, and he sometimes run himself into the space. So if, for example, David Villa didn't run between fullback and center backs. Sometimes you had Iniesta running here. It's also very similar to what he does with Manchester City. If had David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, is the same. The movements goes Mahrez, the difference is Mahrez is not that much coming around here. Mahrez is more standing here, and the runs come from midfield. But the thing is to get the ball inside here in these spaces, number 2 it will be from the right, and then get someone running between the fullback and center back. A player that is head against the goal can pass it without pressure. He will pass the ball in that space, and there you go. Very normal to possession kind of teams. Real Madrid doesn't use that much. Real Madrid is more by getting the ball at wide areas here and dribble across it. But in Barcelona, also in a way, sometimes Liverpool does that. Salah, Mane comes in high pace in here, gets the ball, then dribble. But in Barcelona's team, they too didn't dribble that much. They came with a run in this space, and Xavi and Iniesta didn't have the pace and workload that, for example, you can see De Bruyne have. So they didn't come on those runs that much. Iniesta did it sometimes. Xavi didn't normally never did do that. They stood here and they just pass it on with Messi. Messi sometimes dropped down. He played 1-2-1-2, and he got in one of those wider spaces. Then he started dribbling pace with the ball straight between center backs and fullbacks. Okay, let's go back. So that's why we use Xavi, because we want to explode these wide areas here, and we want to also get the ball as much as possible. So he's deep line playmaker. We could use him as an advanced playmaker, but then he should definitely have the thing that go deep to get the ball, because if not, he will stand too high up in the field, I think. Okay, Odegaard is our mezzala. I could have changed them, but Odegaard is our Iniesta. He's coming wide because the mezzala gets further forward, and he also stays wider. That's what we want to know. We want the center backs also. That's the reason we want the center backs to stand wider. If you go and watch Barcelona play now, the center backs play a little bit smaller, but still, this midfielder always stands in front of this center back. And they pass the ball, pass it wide, and the goal is to get the ball to these two players. They always are in front here, but they never go too deep. They go here, and if you can use them, that's what paying out from defense is, to get the ball to one of these two midfielders. Okay, so we get him wide. I don't set anything on behind him because we also want him to move into channels. He plays 1-2, so he dictates tempo. That's important for us. He looks for pass threat and attempting to score. Maybe Iniesta likes to beat men repeatedly. Okay. Cutscenes are from right wing, so we could have maybe used him as a mezzala here, but since we had Iniesta this side, we're not gonna do that, because then he could cut inside here. Okay, so these three are the midfielders. The center backs, they also go with stay wider, take few chances, few risk. This one's mark tighter. You could do it with both of them, but I think Piqué is not good enough in marking, so I use Mascherano as the marcher. He was sometimes Mascherano was in the play as Puyol was that, he was up there hammering. In another team, I would maybe use Monreal here as a wing back in support. I just use him as a fullback in support. He comes up because you have the ball so much, and you don't want him to take too much risk. Monreal is not that good with the, he's 34 years old at this point. So yeah, Zaluda is your more offensive player. He comes up, he's your Daniel Alves, but he's not Daniel Alves that you want. But he is involved a lot in the offensive part of the game. And I ask him to stay wider. That's important. Even though he's done in that, you want him to stay wider, because Alves goes wider. At the left side, sometimes Abidal could go in this room. He doesn't attack it, but he could stand here and save it. Save the ball, save it here, so you can get your mezzala going wider. So he's supported more to the left side. he was more a supporting role for Iniesta and David Villa. Okay, then we go to our David Villa. David Villa could also have, I could use him in attack. Don't use them as inverted wingers. Remember, in this Barcelona team, these two wide players were not that much in the game. They scored goals. They made room for Messi, and they scored some goals, but they were not dribblers going around here. You know, you have Pedro. He's not a dribbling king out there, and you have also David Villa. He's good with the ball dribbling, but he's not the kind of player like what's his name? He is no Sterling, you know. They're goal scorers. They come and score goals. That's it. So they won't make much impact in the game. So I wish I could get more of them because they're good players. Januzaj did it. Januzaj scored 9 goals for me. That's very good for him and 8 assists. So, but on counterattacks, Januzaj is very good in dribbling, so you could easily use him there. But his off-the-ball movement, his anticipation, you know, he reading the game, his teamwork is low. So for him it was hard. But believe it or not, when I use this guy, Chong, I don't know why, but Chong cuts himself from the wing, but he got a little bit more movement, but he did it. I don't know why. I'm trying to read the numbers here, but there's nothing to get here because he reads the game maybe a little bit better. Decision, I don't know, off the ball 1 point better than the other one, but he had the potential to be better, so I don't know. Okay, but anyway, but what I see is better that when Chong played, and sometimes Januzaj likes to get the ball in his feet and then attack. Okay, Chong waited till we had the ball because we're gonna have the ball a lot in here, and he made the run between here, and that's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want. But Januzaj was a little bit more messy. He wanted the ball, dribbled, and came to the shot out here. So it was more a Neymar version at the right side. Neymar was at the left here. So when he played with Messi, he could do that, you know, dribble and come to a shot. Okay. Anyway, guys, what I ask him is stay wider, because remember, these two players are giving the wide to the game. They're wide players and they're coming in pace inside here. So you want him here. If they don't stand wider, they will suddenly stand here, and you will have an extremely what can I call it? What do we call it? Narrow team in a way. The players will all stand here, and then you have to start playing like more Real Madrid and Zidane. Then you have to use your fullbacks in the last third part of the game. Okay, you don't want that. You don't want them to come in space. So yes, they are inside forward, but I ask them to stay wider. They will, of course, come inside because they're inside forwards, but they will not stand here. They will come here in pace because they are also cut inside with ball. They dribble more, they take more risk, they cross less often, and they get forward. Okay? But what you really wanted here is a player that moves into channels. If you have winger that moves into channel, I come up to the space button here. If you have a player that comes into channels, then he will definitely move inside here. Definitely move here. Okay. So Januzaj, you set up, stay wider, close down, mark specific person. That's of course the left back of the team. Oyarzabal, he was also scoring a lot of goals. He played well when he played. His pace is not that good, and he scored most of his goals on crosses or second balls. 15 goals. I'm going to use him as a midfielder next year based on his pace. I think it will be better as maybe as a mezzala. But he had cut inside from left wing. That was his prayer traits. What we ask him to do is stay wider, close down more, mark tighter, mark specific person. We could also have to ask him to maybe get forward. No, we could maybe ask him to get more forward or something like that. Okay, maybe. But then you have the striker. This is Messi. This is the guy who has to score the goals. Okay, so by using him as a false 9 in this setup, then you really get him as a Messi. Then this player will play as Messi. William Jose, you can see his traits. He shoots from distance, shoots with power, winds up opponents, plays with back against goal, comes deep to get the ball. So he has some of those traits that we want, you know. He also have the strength that is important. Messi doesn't have it, so this is only for us even better. But his vision is not on Messi level, but his first touch is good when he gets the ball. His finishing is good, his dribbling is good, his long shots is good, his heading is good. Didn't score that many more as a heading. His passing is okay, his technique is good, but he's no Messi. Okay? So he scored 15 goals, but he did score a lot of goals as a false 9. He scored more goals as a false 9 than he did at any other roles. What we ask him is that he shoots more often, close down more, and tackle harder. Why do we ask him to shoot more? Yes, I know he likes to take long shots, but we also want him to shoot more because Messi does that. This is the goal scorer. He has to shoot more. If not, you're just going to get the ball here. But he scores a lot of goals. He comes back, get the ball. Based on Januzaj and staying wide here, mostly times he comes on, he leaves the pass back here. Januzaj is still standing wide, so he gets the room. He runs into room here, gets the ball one-on-one with the goalkeeper. It's very, very similar to what Messi would do. So keep them wide if you want your striker to score a little more goal here in a possession game, because it will be more rooms for him to drop in when you have the ball a lot. If they comes inside, you will ruin the room for the player. Okay, let's go to the playing style. We play positive, but you could easily against good teams go down to balanced or cautious, and you will dominate them even more in the game. And but that's have to be against teams that pressure you a little bit. For example, teams that pressure but don't have the physique, like Real Madrid. Sometimes they didn't have Casemiro against me at the last game. Perfect. You had Kroos, you have Modric here, tired player physically, couldn't come in, couldn't do the job. So we just passed around them, and your mentality is a little bit low. So yeah, they will keep the ball in the team. We play fairly narrow, and that's important, even more important than to keep Januzaj and Oyarzabal wide. Your wingers must be wide. We are playing fairly narrow already. Of course, they're playing out of defense. We are passing shorter. We are higher tempo. We work the ball into the box. We go low crosses. That is the mark of. It's like futsal. If you play futsal, have you seen that? That's what Pep does. The futsal, 90% of the goals comes that you come crosses, low crosses, and goal. Low crosses to the back post, and you score from the back post. It's like FIFA in a way. Counter press, yes, we don't take the counters. We played both center backs or full backs. We could maybe take this away, but I kept it in based on this. So the keeper will, when he gets the pass back to the goalkeeper, he will then use his full backs in a way when they pressure high, especially against 4-4-2 teams. 4-3-3, that pressure high with 3 players is important to involve your fullbacks in the build-up when Busquets comes down to get the ball. Okay, we don't ask him to do it quickly, or we don't ask him to take it quickly or slow down the pace. It's his choice. We go higher, go standard. You see your opponent, what you can do, you can see use tight to marking, prevent the short goal kick. I didn't use the offside trap in the last. You can use it sometimes, or you cannot use it. It's up to you. I didn't do it against Real Madrid. I didn't dare to do it because they have some players that are vicious in the back, running behind there, as well as Kroos and Modric passing is extremely well. So you would just get a lot of goal against Real Madrid if you do that. And if you play defensively high line against Real Madrid, with Gareth Bale's pace out there and Hazard's passing, coming inside here, passing all the way, and you don't have players. If I had good center backs, I would do it. Of course, they use offside trap. Of course, they do it. You could even go much higher, but I couldn't do it with this team. Then I would ruin the system totally. So I had to go higher. That's maximal I could go. But this is something they adjust in the games. If you're playing against a team, you go and watch your opponents play. You go to a team report on them, and then you see, for example, our last game here was against Real Madrid, wasn't it? Yeah. You go to Real Madrid here. You go to team report, and you can see, for example, they score 7 of the 22 assists. The last match have been from the left side of the pitch. That is Hazard. So Hazard or maybe Mendy or Marcelo have done it, right? So they come here. So okay, if you see a lot of crosses that is coming in, or is it through balls? They stand here. Where is the assist coming? Is the assist coming from through balls, or is it coming from what is it coming from? So if it's a lot of goals coming on, if they are scoring a lot of goals on crosses, then you go wider. And you can see it in the beginning of the game. You're just watching the game. Oh, we are conceding a lot of crosses here. Bam, go wider. So this is something you have to adjust based on the game. I also think Barcelona did that too. I don't think they said we're gonna defend like that and that's the way we do it. But they of course didn't want that many crosses against them. So I don't think they will be very, very small. But also, as better defenders you have, you can almost just keep it like this. And if the opponent is a bad team that goes through balls, if you have good central defenders, we pick them up. But if you're playing with not the best team in the world, then you should do it. But what should you do here, guys? You should get the players with the good first touch, the composure, the vision, the decision, and they don't have too many traits that are difficult for you to put in the system here. You need to have players that can win the ball back because they're high pressure. That's something for me that was so strange with that Barcelona side, that they had Messi that doesn't have that workload. They didn't have the strong midfield that can run up and win the ball high up in the field. But how do they do it? I think one of the reasons they did that, they had the ball a so long amount of times that when they lost the ball, the opponent hadn't had the ball for so long time and they were pinned so long back in the field that the little pressure Barcelona laid on them was like extreme pressure, because the players was not that good in high pressure. There were not a lot. For example, if you think players like David Villa, Pedro is a good hard-working player. Of course, he's good in pace, but he's not the fastest player. He's not like Sterling. He's not like Sané. The players he have in City is better in taking the high pressure, but still this Barcelona team won the ball a lot more. But also the respect they had, the opponents had for them, I think, was vital. Should you play this game or not? Of course, go to Real Sociedad. Anyway, if you're gonna play the Pep style or not, go to Real Sociedad and play with them. It's a great team to play with, guys. It's a great team to play with. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, hit the like button. Or you can also subscribe. You don't need to do it, but you can do it. Try it, guys. If it works for you, tell me. If not, and if you want me to make another, we used to have a lot of, we had a lot of remaking of tactics from old time, new times. If you want me to remake something, I will do it. But if it succeeds or not, I don't know. I will try it. This is already tested, guys. Test it out with a team that is based, that can do this, and let me know how it works. Thank you, guys.